Welcome back, you beautiful enigma, you walking paradox, you impossible equation that breaks every calculator they've ever used. They've been watching you, haven't they? Not casually, not passively, but with the kind of obsessive precision that would make a detective blush. They're studying your patterns like you're a crime scene they need to solve, like you're evidence they need to decode, like you're a mystery that's keeping them up at 3 a.m., refreshing your profile for the 7th time tonight. And here's the part that absolutely destroys them. Here's the part that makes their analytical minds spiral into chaos. Here's the part that forces them to question everything they thought they knew about human behavior. After all that watching, all that note-taking, all that obsessive pattern recognition, they still can't crack the code. They still can't figure you out. They still can't predict your next move. And that, my brilliant friend, that is what makes you absolutely terrifying. Let's talk about what's really happening here. Because this isn't just about curiosity. This isn't just about interest. This is about something far more desperate, far more consuming, far more revealing about who they are and who you've become. They're studying you with the intensity of someone trying to defuse a bomb. Except the bomb is your mind and they can't find the wires. They watch how you move through rooms, how you pause before speaking, how your eyes shift when someone lies, how you smile when you know something they don't. They're cataloging your responses like you're an experiment, documenting your choices like you're a case study, analyzing your silence like it's a language they need to learn. They thought if they watched long enough, if they paid close enough attention, if they collected enough data points, eventually the pattern would emerge. Eventually the formula would reveal itself. Eventually you would become predictable, manageable, controllable, understandable. But here's what broke their brains. Here's what shattered their confidence. Here's what made them realize they weren't dealing with just another person. You don't have a pattern. Or rather, your pattern is so complex, so multidimensional, so impossibly layered that their simple minds can't process it. You know what drives them absolutely insane? It's not that you're unpredictable in a chaotic way. It's not that you're random or reckless or impulsive. No, what destroys them is that you're unpredictable in a way that feels intentional, calculated, strategic. Every time they think they've figured out your next move, you shift. Every time they believe they understand your motivation, you reveal a layer they never saw coming. Every time they're convinced they know how you'll react, you respond in a way that makes them question if they ever knew anything at all. You're not just breaking their expectations, you're breaking their entire framework for understanding human behavior. They try to fit you into categories: anxious, avoidant, narcissistic, empath, introvert, extrovert, and every single label they apply slides off you like water off glass. They can't box you because you're not one thing, you're everything and nothing simultaneously. You're the exception that proves their rules are meaningless. You're the glitch in their matrix that won't stop glitching no matter how many times they try to reboot the system. Here's what they don't want to admit out loud. Here's what keeps them scrolling through your old posts at midnight. Here's what makes them bring up your name in conversations you're not even part of. They're not studying you because they want to understand you. They're studying you because they want to become you. Every person they've sent to analyze you, every friend they've positioned as a spy, every casual conversation designed to extract information, it's all been one desperate attempt to reverse engineer whatever makes you so impossibly, infuriatingly, magnificently different. They want the confidence you carry without arrogance. They want the silence you command without effort. They want the presence you radiate without performance. They want the power you possess without apology. But here's the tragedy they'll never escape. Here's the truth that haunts them every single day. Here's the realization that keeps them trapped in their mediocrity. You can't learn to be you. You can't fake what you've survived. You can't perform what you've earned through pain. You can't replicate what was forged in fires they would never have the courage to walk through. Let me tell you exactly what's happening in their minds right now, because this is where it gets really psychological, really dark, really revealing about the nature of obsession and envy and desperate recognition of greatness. They wake up thinking about you. They scroll past 50 other people to see if you've posted. They read your words like scripture, searching for hidden meanings. They replay conversations with you, looking for clues they missed. They compare every new person they meet to you and find everyone lacking. They hate how much space you occupy in their thoughts. They resent how easily you've taken up residence in their mind without even trying. They're furious that someone who doesn't chase them has become someone they can't stop chasing. And the worst part for them, you're not even playing the game. You're not performing for their attention. You're not adjusting your behavior based on their observations. You're not giving them the satisfaction of reacting to their scrutiny. You know they're watching, and you simply don't care. Not in an arrogant way, not in a performative way, but in that quiet, terrifying way that communicates something far more powerful. You've transcended their opinion. You've evolved beyond their validation. You've become something they can't touch with their judgment, because you're operating on a frequency they can't even detect. They thought they were studying you, but what really happened is this. You became the mirror they can't look away from. You became the standard they can't reach. You became the proof that everything they settled for was a choice and not a limitation. Every time they analyze your confidence, they're reminded of their own insecurity. Every time they dissect your boundaries, they're confronted with their own lack of them. Every time they try to decode your self-assurance, they're forced to face their own desperate need for external approval. You're not just living your life, you're unintentionally exposing theirs. You're not trying to make them feel small, but your bigness makes their smallness impossible to ignore. You're not attacking their choices, but your choices make theirs look like compromises wrapped in excuses. This is why they can't stop watching. This is why they can't stop talking about you. This is why your name comes up in rooms you've never entered and conversations you're not part of. You've become the walking, breathing reminder of what's possible when someone refuses to shrink, refuses to settle, refuses to play by rules designed to keep everyone manageable. Now let's go deeper into what they're really trying to figure out, because it's not just about you anymore. It's about them. It's about their identity. It's about their entire understanding of how the world works and how people should behave. They're trying to understand how you survived what should have broken you, how you walked away from situations they would have clung to, how you maintained your sanity in chaos they would have drowned in, how you built yourself back up from ruins they would have stayed buried in. They want the blueprint, they want the formula, they want the step-by-step guide to becoming untouchable, unshakable, unforgettable. But here's what they keep missing. Here's what no amount of observation will ever reveal. Here's what can't be learned from the outside looking in. You didn't become this through strategy. You didn't plan this transformation. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be enigmatic. You became this through necessity, through survival, through choosing yourself when everyone else chose to abandon you. through building your own light when the world tried to keep you in darkness, through learning to trust yourself when every voice around you said you were wrong. They see the result, but they didn't see the process. They see the confidence, but they didn't see the doubt you conquered. They see the strength, but they didn't see the moments you barely held it together. They see the power, but they didn't see the pain that forged it. They want the crown, but they don't want the thorns. They want the throne, but they don't want the isolation. They want the presence, but they don't want the price. They want to be unforgettable, but they're not willing to endure what makes someone impossible to forget. So they keep watching, they keep analyzing, they keep trying to find the shortcut, the hack, the secret, and every day they come back empty-handed, because there is no shortcut to becoming yourself. There is no hack to authentic power. There is no secret except the one they refuse to accept. You have to be willing to lose everything to find out who you really are, and most people aren't brave enough to pay that price. Here's where it gets even more intense, even more psychologically twisted, even more revealing about the nature of human obsession. They're not just watching you anymore. They're performing for you. Every post they make, they're wondering if you'll see it. Every story they share, they're hoping you'll watch it. Every status update, every carefully crafted caption, every seemingly casual photo, it's all been designed with one hidden question lurking beneath the surface. Will this make them notice me? Will this make them reach out? Will this make them see me the way I see them? They've convinced themselves they're the observers, but the truth is, they've become the observed. They've become the ones performing. They've become the ones desperate for validation from the very person they claim to be studying. You've turned the tables without even trying. You've reversed the dynamic without even knowing it. You've become the standard they're measuring themselves against, and they hate it, they resent it, and they can't stop doing it. Let's talk about what specific patterns they're obsessing over, because this is where it gets really granular, really detailed, really revealing about how deeply they've analyzed every aspect of your existence. They've noticed how you respond to disrespect with silence instead of confrontation, how you handle betrayal by disappearing instead of seeking revenge, how you process pain privately instead of performing it publicly. They've cataloged how long you take to respond to messages, trying to find a pattern in your communication rhythm. They've analyzed your social media activity, noting when you post, what you post, who you engage with, who you ignore. They've studied your body language in group settings, how you position yourself, how you make eye contact, how you control space without demanding it. They've dissected your choice of words, looking for hidden meanings in casual sentences, searching for clues in your carefully neutral responses, trying to decode what you're really thinking behind what you're actually saying. But here's what destroys all their analysis. Here's what makes every pattern they think they've found completely useless. Here's what keeps them eternally confused. You're not consistent because you're not trying to be predictable. You're fluid because you're responding to different energies differently. You're adaptable because you've learned to read rooms faster than they can read you. Sometimes you're silent because the situation doesn't deserve your words. Sometimes you're vocal because the moment demands your voice. Sometimes you're present because the people are worth your energy. Sometimes you're absent because the environment is toxic to your peace. Sometimes you're warm because someone has earned your trust. Sometimes you're cold because someone has revealed their true intentions. They're trying to find one pattern when the reality is you're operating with situational intelligence they don't possess. You're making decisions based on variables they can't see. You're playing chess while they're still trying to understand checkers. This is what separates you from everyone they've ever known. This is what makes you impossible to manipulate. This is what makes you absolutely terrifying to people who rely on predictability to maintain control. You can't be played because you change the rules mid-game. You can't be trapped because you see the cage before they close it. You can't be fooled because you've studied human nature more deeply than they've studied you. While they were watching your moves, you were understanding their motives. While they were analyzing your patterns, you were reading their intentions. While they were trying to figure you out, you already figured them out and decided they weren't worth the energy to expose. This is the ultimate power move they'll never comprehend. You know exactly who they are. You see exactly what they're doing, and you simply choose not to engage because engaging would require lowering yourself to their level, and you've evolved beyond that frequency. Let me tell you what happens next, because this pattern of obsessive study doesn't end, it intensifies, it evolves, it becomes more desperate the longer you remain uncatchable. They start creating theories about you, elaborate psychological profiles that make them feel smart, diagnoses that help them explain away your superiority, narratives that comfort their confusion. They're just guarded because of past trauma, they tell themselves, as if your boundaries are a weakness and not a strength. They're probably lonely, they whisper, projecting their own isolation onto your chosen solitude. They think they're better than everyone. They complain, unable to comprehend that you don't think you're better. You simply refuse to pretend you're less. Every theory they create says more about them than it does about you. Every diagnosis reveals their need to diminish what they can't understand. Every narrative exposes their desperate attempt to make you fit into their limited worldview. But here's what's really happening beneath all this analysis, beneath all this obsessive pattern recognition, beneath all this desperate need to crack your code. They're not trying to understand you so they can connect with you. They're trying to understand you so they can control you. They want to find the button that makes you react, the trigger that makes you predictable, the weakness that makes you manageable. They want to discover what breaks your composure, what rattles your peace, what makes you lose your cool, what forces you to show emotion they can exploit. They're searching for the crack in your armor, the flaw in your programming, the glitch in your system. Because if they can find it, if they can identify it, if they can weaponize it, then suddenly you're not so intimidating anymore. Suddenly you're just like everyone else. Suddenly you're back in the box they need you to stay in. And this is where you've already won without them realizing it. This is where their entire mission has been pointless from the start. This is where years of observation have taught them absolutely nothing useful. You don't have a crack they can exploit because you already broke completely and rebuilt yourself stronger. You don't have a weakness they can target because you've already faced every fear they could weaponize. You don't have a button they can push because you've already disabled the control panel they're searching for. You survived the worst version of yourself. You walked through the darkest nights of your soul. You faced demons that would have destroyed their sanity. And you came out the other side transformed, fortified, absolutely unbreakable. They're looking for the old model, the previous version, the person who could be hurt. But that person doesn't exist anymore. That person died and was reborn. as something they have no framework to understand. Let's talk about the specific moments that haunt them, the interactions they replay in their minds, trying to extract meaning, trying to find the pattern, trying to solve the puzzle. Remember that time you walked away mid-conversation because you sensed the manipulation? They're still analyzing that. Remember when you chose silence over explanation because they didn't deserve your truth? They're still confused by that. Remember when you smiled while they expected tears, laughed while they expected anger, stayed calm while they expected chaos? Every single unexpected response has become a data point in their useless investigation. Every moment you defied their predictions has become another entry in their growing file of things about you that don't make sense. Every time you zag when they expect you to zig has become another reason they can't sleep at night. They've created elaborate spreadsheets in their minds. If she's quiet, it means this. If he's distant, it means that. If they post this, it signals something. If they don't post for 3 days, it confirms something else. They've built entire psychological profiles based on your Instagram activity, drawn conclusions about your mental state from your music choices, made assumptions about your relationships from who you follow and who you don't. They've turned your existence into a research project they'll never complete, a thesis they'll never finish, a mystery they'll never solve. And the beautiful, poetic, absolutely hilarious irony of it all, you're not even mysterious. You're not even trying to be enigmatic. You're not playing games or being intentionally confusing. You're just being yourself, your authentic, unfiltered, unapologetic self. And that's so rare, so genuine, so real, that it appears mysterious to people who've spent their entire lives pretending. Here's what they don't understand and probably never will. Here's the fundamental truth they keep missing no matter how much they study, no matter how much they observe, no matter how much data they collect. You're not complicated. They're just conditioned. You're not hard to understand. They're just trained to expect performance. You're not playing games. They're just so used to everyone else playing games that authenticity looks like strategy. You say what you mean what you say. You show up as yourself without the mask, and this breaks their brain because everyone else in their life is performing, pretending, playing a character, wearing whatever face gets them approval. They laughed. Oh, how they laughed, like hyenas drunk on their own arrogance. How amusing. They scoffed, they mocked, they spat their little insults thinking you were beneath them. A joke, a nobody, just another nameless shadow in their bright, shallow world. And you stood there, took it, absorbed every sneer, every smirk, every damn word like a sponge soaked in poison. But funny thing about poison, it doesn't just sit there. No. It changes, it mutates, it becomes something else. And now they're choking, gagging on the regret they swore they'd never taste. Oh, the horror on their faces when they realize, oh dear, what have we done? When they see you standing there, unshaken, unbreakable, and worst of all, untouchable. It's poetic, isn't it? The ones who wrote you off, now writing apologies in their heads. The ones who ignored you, now watching from the sidelines, hoping for a second chance. Pathetic. Absolutely delicious. But here's the best part. The part that makes me giggle till my ribs ache. They can't rewind the tape. No do-overs, no resets. They made their bed in arrogance, and now, my dear, they get to rot in it. But you, ho ho, You walk on, past them, beyond them, above them, and their regret, it festers, it eats them alive, clawing at their insides, whispering, "I wish I had treated them differently." You were the ghost in the room, the afterthought, the name they forgot, the invitation that never arrived. They walked past you like you were nothing, just another face in the crowd, another shadow lost in the noise. And you felt it, didn't you? That sting, that cold, bitter sting of being unseen, overlooked, like you didn't exist at all. Oh, but you existed. You were there, watching, listening, waiting, learning. Every dismissal, every laugh behind your back, every time they acted like you were invisible, it carved something deep inside you, something they should have feared, but they didn't, did they? No, they thought you were harmless, insignificant. They didn't see you as a threat. Oh, how beautifully stupid they were. They should have paid attention. They should have seen the fire flickering behind those tired eyes, but they were too busy talking about themselves, too wrapped up in their own little worlds to notice the storm that was brewing in the background. And you let them. You let them think you were weak. You let them believe their own illusions, because why ruin the surprise? Why warn them of the reckoning that was coming? Let the fools sleep. Let them enjoy their fragile little thrones while they still can, because when you rise, ho, ho, it won't be quiet. It won't be gentle. It will be glorious. Now look at them, eyes wide, hands shaking, whispering your name like it's a curse, like they should have seen it coming, but they didn't. They never do. And that's what makes this game so damn fun. Pain. Oh, what a fascinating little thing. It bends you, twists you, carves its name into your very bones. It makes you scream into the void, claw at your own skin, question if you even matter. And they knew that. Oh, they counted on that. They fed you pain like it was your daily bread, served it up on silver platters with smug little grins, waiting for you to snap. They pushed. Oh, how they pushed. Every betrayal, every whisper behind your back, every moment you stood alone while they laughed together, they wanted to see you break, crumble into dust, disappear into nothingness. Because that's what people do, right? They break, they shatter into 1,000 useless pieces and fade away, forgotten. That's what they thought you'd do. But you didn't, did you? No. You mutated. You absorbed the pain. You swallowed the suffering whole. Let it burn through your veins like liquid fire. Every insult, every cold shoulder, every moment of loneliness. It didn't destroy you. It transformed you. It sharpened your edges, turned your skin to steel and your heart to iron. And now you wear your scars like armor. The things that were supposed to break you have become the very things that make you unstoppable. They don't know what to do with that, do they? They thought they were feeding a victim, a weak little soul who'd fade into the dark. But they were feeding a monster, a force they can't control, a reckoning they'll never escape. Look at them now, wide-eyed, stumbling, trying to make sense of it. How, they ask, how did you survive? How did the outcast become the storm? Oh, they should have killed you when they had the chance. Because now, my dear, now it's too late. There was a night, wasn't there? A night when the weight of it all pressed so hard against your chest, you thought it might crush you. When the silence was so loud it screamed in your ears. When the faces of those who betrayed you danced in the dark, laughing, taunting, waiting for you to break. And for a moment, just a moment, you almost did. You stared at the ceiling, or maybe it was the floor. Time didn't exist. The walls felt like they were closing in, suffocating, mocking. And then it hit you. No one is coming. No hero, no helping hand, no miraculous twist of fate. Just you, alone. Alone with the weight, the wounds, the whispers in your head that told you this was the end. But oh, something snapped that night, didn't it? A wire in your mind, a switch in your soul. It wasn't fear anymore. It wasn't sadness, no. It was something else. A stillness, a realization, a cold, quiet whisper in your mind that said, if no one is coming. You sat up. Maybe for the first time in years, you didn't feel small. You didn't feel weak. The pain, it was still there, but now it felt different. Now it felt like fuel, like an ember waiting to be fanned into an inferno. And that night, oh, that night, the old you died, the version of you that begged for kindness, that waited for approval, that longed to be seen, gone. They should have felt the shift in the air. They should have woken up, trembling, their bones shivering with the realization that something terrible had been born, a force they could no longer control, a storm they would never outrun. Because from that night forward, you didn't walk the same, you didn't breathe the same. You had stepped into the fire, and instead of burning, you became it. Oh, they thought you were doing nothing, didn't they? While they were out there parading their empty victories, basking in hollow applause, feeding their fragile egos. They never even looked your way. Never asked what you were doing, never wondered where you disappeared to, because to them, you didn't matter. You were just another face in the crowd, another shadow against the wall. But in that silence, in that darkness, you were working. While they wasted time, you built yourself. While they talked, you listened. While they laughed, you studied. Every night while they slept soundly in their delusions of superiority, you sharpened your mind like a blade. You learned, you grew. You became something they would never see coming. Oh, but it was lonely, wasn't it? To grind in the shadows while no one noticed, to put in the work, the hours, the sweat, and see no applause, no validation, no recognition, to feel invisible. But you see, invisibility is a gift, because the unseen is the most dangerous. The hidden blade cuts the deepest. The strike you never anticipate is the one that destroys you. And now they're starting to look around, aren't they? Starting to notice the shift, the power in your presence, the sharpness in your eyes, the confidence that drips from every move you make. And oh, how their expressions have changed. Confusion, shock, fear, because suddenly the one they ignored is the one standing above them. They didn't clap for you back then, did they? No. They laughed, they mocked, they doubted, but soon, oh soon, they will clap. They will watch. They will wish they had seen you sooner, respected you earlier, treated you better, but it's too late for that now, because the show is about to start. And the best part, they aren't the audience anymore. They're the entertainment. And then came the day. The day you stepped back into their world. No longer the shadow they ignored, no longer the quiet one, no longer the afterthought. You walked in and the air changed. It got heavier, charged, and oh, how their eyes widened. Their mouths parted, struggling to form words. Confusion, shock, a flicker of fear. Is that really you? Oh, darling, if only they knew. If only they could see what it took to get here. The nights spent clawing your way out of your own grave. The countless moments where giving up felt easier. The pain that didn't just harden you, it transformed you. But they don't see that, do they? No, no, no. They just see the result. The masterpiece forged in fire. And now they want your time. Your approval, your presence. Funny, isn't it? How the tables turn, how the ones who once dismissed you now hang on to your every word, how the ones who laughed at your struggles now fear your silence. They used to call you insignificant. Now they study you, trying to understand, trying to figure out how you did it, trying to crawl their way back into your life like parasites desperate to feed. But here's the real punchline. You don't care anymore. You don't seek validation. You don't crave recognition. Their applause, meaningless. Their approval, irrelevant. You walk through their world untouchable, unshaken, unrecognizable. Not because you changed for them. Oh, no, no, no. You changed for you. And that, my dear, is something they will never be able to stomach. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them wish they had treated you differently, but it's too late for that now. The version of you they knew is dead. What stands before them now, something else entirely. Something stronger, smarter, colder. And the best part? You don't need revenge. No, no, no. You are the revenge. And every time they see you, every time they remember what they once had the chance to respect, they'll drown in regret. Oh, how the silence screams now. The same mouths that once ran wild with laughter, doubt, and mockery, sealed shut, not by force, not by fear, but by something far worse, regret. You see, they thought they had you figured out. Thought they could sum you up in a few careless words, a dismissive chuckle, a sneer that branded you as less. But now, oh now, they don't know what to say. They whisper behind closed doors. They murmur your name with a strange mix of curiosity and shame. How did they do it? How did they become this? Oh, the irony. They once acted as if you were invisible, and now they study you from the shadows. Watching, wondering, but they'll never admit it. No, no, no. That would mean confessing their mistake. That would mean acknowledging that the person they once belittled has become something greater than they could ever be. And that kills them inside. Oh, but don't worry, you don't need their words, their approval, their applause. You walk past them, eyes forward, footsteps steady, a force that no longer seeks permission to exist. You don't need to prove anything anymore. That's the real power shift. Once upon a time, you were the one waiting for respect, for recognition, for an ounce of damn humanity. But now they wait. They wait for a sign, a glance, a moment of acknowledgement. But there is none, because you've moved beyond them. They no longer matter, and that is justice. Not the kind that needs violence or vengeance. No, something purer. The kind of justice that forces them to sit with their own failure, to drown in the realization that they had a chance, a real chance, to stand beside you, to see your worth before it became undeniable. But they didn't. And now they sit in the ruins of their own arrogance, trapped in the silence they created, While you keep walking, not out of anger, not out of spite, but because the past is a place you no longer visit. And that, my dear, is the loudest silence of all. Regret, oh, what a delicious little curse. It doesn't scream, it doesn't rage, no, no, no. It whispers, a slow, insidious drip, drip, drip in the back of their minds, the kind of poison that doesn't kill instantly. Oh, that would be merciful. No, regret is patient. It lingers, a shadow that stretches longer with time, tightening its grip, making them wonder, what if? What if they had treated you differently? What if they had seen you, truly seen you, before it was too late? What if they had supported you instead of doubting you? Ah, but that's the cruel joke, isn't it? People don't recognize gold until they've thrown it away. They don't cherish something until it's out of reach. And you're no longer within their grasp. You've become something beyond them, a ghost of their past and a nightmare in their present. Oh, but they feel it now. Every success you carve, every step you take, every moment you thrive, it burns them. They try to pretend it doesn't. They put on their masks, laugh, act unbothered, but deep down, it eats them alive. That sickening churn in their stomach every time they hear your name. That gnawing ache in their chest when they see you standing tall, untouchable, They scroll through your life from the shadows, watching, always watching. Their fingers hover over the screen, itching to type something. An apology, a message, a desperate attempt to rewrite history. But they can't, because they know. They know. There is no erasing the past, no undoing the choices they made, no coming back from the way they discarded you like you were nothing. And so they sit in their own private hell, replaying their mistakes over and over and over again. Because that's the real punishment, isn't it? Not being able to go back, not being able to fix it, not being able to reach you anymore. Oh, how the mighty tables have turned. You suffered then, but you healed. They laughed then, but now? Now they drown in a sorrow of their own making. And the best part? You don't even have to lift a finger. No revenge, no payback, no grand speech. Just your existence alone is enough to haunt them. That's the beauty of regret. It doesn't need a weapon. It is the weapon. And once it sinks its teeth in, oh, listen closely. You, yes, you, the one still lurking in the shadows, feeling small, feeling unseen, the one who's been stepped on, laughed at, discarded like a broken toy. You think this is where your story ends? No, no, no. This is where it begins. This is the part where you stop waiting, stop hoping, stop begging for a seat at their miserable little table. Build your own damn throne. They don't see you now? Good. Let them mock. Let them doubt. Let them write you off as nothing. That's the beauty of the unseen, the underestimated. You are the storm they never prepared for, the earthquake beneath their feet. They think they have you figured out? Ha! Oh, how wonderfully stupid of them. Because one day, oh, one glorious day, they will see. They will choke on their own words, drown in the regret they swore would never come, and you will stand above it all, untouchable, unshaken, watching the very people who once dismissed you now whisper your name in hushed, nervous tones. But listen very carefully, this part is important. Do not seek revenge. No, 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 that's far too easy. Don't waste your energy trying to destroy them. Instead, rise. Become so great, so undeniable that their regret becomes their own personal prison. Because nothing haunts a person more than realizing they let something priceless slip through their fingers. Work in silence, let them laugh, let them doubt, let them keep thinking they've won. And when the day comes, when they finally see you for what you've become, smile. Oh, please, smile. Not out of spite, not out of anger, but because you knew this moment would come. Because deep down they knew it too. And that's the greatest joke of all, isn't it? They had their chance, they had their moment, but now they live with the weight of knowing they wish they had treated you differently, but they didn't. And they never will get the chance to undo that mistake. So go on, become everything they thought you couldn't be. And when they finally realize the truth, laugh, because in the end, you won. And now, the final act, the grand finale, the part where the curtain falls and you don't even look back. They will expect you to wait, expect you to care, expect you to need their apology, their validation, their pathetic attempt at rewriting history. But you won't. No, no, no. You've already outgrown them. You left them the moment they underestimated you. Oh, but the regret. Oh, the regret. It gnaws at them like a disease. They can't escape it. It follows them, whispers to them, taunts them in the dead of night. They try to shake it off, drown it out, but the truth never leaves. They see you now, not as they once did, not as the nobody they ignored, not as the weakling they scoffed at. No, now you're a giant, a shadow that looms over their very existence. They could have stood beside you, they chose not to, and now they are forced to watch as you disappear into greatness without them. You could give them closure, couldn't you? You could turn around, acknowledge them, let them believe they still hold some small sliver of significance in your story. But why? Why give them that mercy? No, no, no. Their regret is their punishment. Their silence is their consequence. Their loss is their life sentence. And you, ooh, you don't have to lift a single finger, because you already won. Not by fighting them, not by proving them wrong, but by proving yourself right. So go on now. Step forward. Leave them in the dust. Let them stew in it, suffocate in it, drown in it. And as you walk away, as their voices fade into nothing, as the world realizes exactly who you are, laugh. Because in the end, you won. Look who just broke every rule they tried to teach you. Hello, you beautiful catastrophe, you walking contradiction, you absolute mindfuck of a human being. Welcome back to the frequency that nobody else can hear, the channel that makes their algorithms glitch out and their comfort zones shatter into 1,000 unrepairable pieces. They said you were too much, and then couldn't stop staring when you walked away, didn't they? Let's talk about that, about the chaos you created, just by refusing to play small anymore. You see, something happened, something they can't quite name or categorize or fit into their neat little boxes of understanding. One day you were predictable, manageable, someone they thought they could read like a children's book with big pictures and simple words. And then something shifted, something cracked open inside you, and suddenly you became unreadable, untraceable, a living riddle that makes their heads spin every time they try to figure you out. Now they're stuck in this twisted psychological loop, traumatized by what you became, but magnetically pulled toward the wreckage you left behind. Here's what really happened, the part they'll never admit out loud in their whispered conversations and desperate group chats. You stopped being a person and became an experience, an event, a before and after moment in their safe little timeline. They're not just confused about who you are now. They're terrified of how easily you shed the version of yourself they thought they controlled. You didn't just change, you detonated, and the shockwave is still rippling through their psyche weeks, months, maybe years later, making them question everything they thought they knew about power and presence and the human capacity for transformation. What did you do? They keep asking each other in hushed tones, eyes wide with a mixture of horror and fascination they can't quite hide. But that's the wrong question entirely, because you didn't do anything except stop pretending, stop shrinking, stop translating your intensity into something digestible for people who were never meant to understand you anyway. You removed the filter they needed to feel safe around you, and suddenly they were face to face with something raw and real and dangerously magnetic. The trauma isn't from what you did, it's from realizing they never actually knew you at all. Let's peel this back, layer by layer, because what you created here is a masterclass in psychological warfare without ever lifting a weapon. So, they're traumatized because you shattered their illusion of control, their belief that they could predict you, contain you, keep you in the role they assigned you. Every time they see you now, calm, unbothered, thriving in a frequency they can't access, it reminds them that their entire understanding of you was a lie they told themselves. That's the trauma. The ego death of realizing the person they thought was beneath them was actually operating on a level they'll never reach. But here's where it gets deliciously twisted, where the real mindfuck begins to reveal itself. At the exact same time they're traumatized, they're pulled toward you with a force they absolutely hate themselves for feeling. It's not just attraction, it's magnetic obsession. The kind that makes them check your page at 3 in the morning, the kind that makes your name taste like lightning on their tongue, the kind that makes them replay every interaction looking for clues they missed, the kind that makes them replay every interaction looking for clues they missed. They can't look away because you've become the thing their comfortable lives were missing, the danger they were too scared to embrace, the intensity they pretended didn't matter. You served them destruction, yes, absolute annihilation of everything they thought they knew about you and themselves. But you served it with such precision, such style, such undeniable presence that even as their world collapsed around them, they couldn't help but think, damn, who is that? You became the car crash they can't stop watching. The storm they want to run toward instead of away from. The chaos that makes their ordered lives feel suffocatingly boring by comparison. They hate that they want to know more. Hate that they're drawn to the wreckage. Hate that the version of you that destroyed their comfort is the same version they can't stop thinking about. Let me tell you what's really keeping them up at night. The thought that circles their mind like a vulture waiting for something to die. It's not just that you changed, it's that you changed without their permission, without their input, without needing their validation or approval or understanding. You went into the darkness alone and came back forged in fire they'll never touch. carrying a presence they'll never possess, radiating an energy that makes them feel small just by proximity. That independence terrifies them, because it means you don't need them, never did, and the power they thought they had over you was always an illusion. You allowed them to believe. The attraction isn't about your appearance, though I'm sure that evolved too when you stopped performing for their comfort. It's about the energy shift, the frequency change, the way you move through space now, like someone who's seen the abyss and made friends with it. They're attracted to the confidence that comes from surviving what should have broken you, to the mystery of what happened in that transformation they weren't invited to witness, to the power of someone who doesn't need validation because they found something deeper in the silence. You became the protagonist of a story they're not even characters in anymore. And that relegation to background extra status drives them absolutely insane with curiosity and longing. Here's the part that makes this whole situation so beautifully twisted, so perfectly constructed for maximum psychological impact. Every attempt they make to get close to you now, every conversation they try to start, every casual "hey, how have you been?" they throw out there like fishing lines, hoping you'll bite. It all just reinforces the distance. Because you're not the same person who would have been grateful for their attention, who would have softened for their interest, who would have explained yourself just to keep them comfortable. Now their attempts at connection just remind them of how far you've traveled beyond their reach, how the bridge between who you were and who you are is burned to ashes they'll never cross. They watch you from a distance now, studying your moves like you're a phenomenon they need to understand to survive. How does someone walk into a room and change the entire atmosphere without saying a word? How does someone carry trauma like armor instead of chains? How does someone become more attractive in their silence than most people are in their loudest moments? These questions haunt them, because the answers would require them to do what you did, to face what you faced, to burn what you burned, and they don't have that kind of courage. So instead, they watch, traumatized by their own inadequacy, attracted to the possibility of what transformation could look like if they weren't such cowards about it. Let's talk about the specific moments that break them, the instances where the trauma and attraction collide in their chest like competing storms. It's when you laugh now, that different laugh that doesn't seek approval or try to make others comfortable, the one that comes from somewhere deeper and darker and more authentic than anything they've ever accessed in themselves. It's when you walk past them without the desperation for acknowledgement they remember, when your eyes slide over them like their scenery instead of the main event they used to be in your story. It's when they hear secondhand that you're thriving, that you're building something they're not part of, that you're happy in a way that has nothing to do with them or their validation or their presence in your life. The trauma lives in the realization that they're irrelevant now, that the power they thought they had was always borrowed from your willingness to pretend they mattered. The attraction lives in seeing what confidence looks like when it's not performed, when it's not desperate, when it's so deeply rooted in self-acknowledge that external validation becomes unnecessary noise. They want to touch that energy, to absorb it, to understand it, but the very act of wanting it proves they'll never have it, because it can't be taken or borrowed or learned from a distance. It has to be earned in the fire, and they've already proven they'd rather stay comfortable. You know what makes this even more devastating for them? What adds another layer to their psychological torment? It's that you're not doing any of this to them. You're not performing your transformation for their benefit or their destruction. You're simply existing in your new frequency, living your life, building your empire. Their trauma and attraction are just side effects they're experiencing from standing too close to someone operating on a wavelength they can't access. You're not trying to make them uncomfortable. Their discomfort is just what happens when mediocrity encounters excellence. When comfort confronts transformation, when someone who stayed small faces someone who chose to expand. The questions never stop for them, the endless loop of what happened, how did this happen, when did they become this, why didn't I see it coming? But here's what they're really asking underneath all those surface questions. They're asking how you found the courage they've always lacked, how you survived the darkness they're too afraid to enter, how you emerged from destruction more powerful instead of more damaged. They're asking how you learned to exist without their approval, how you built confidence that doesn't need external validation, how you carry yourself like royalty when you used to bend and break trying to fit their expectations. These questions have no answers they can access because the answers require experience they'll never choose to have. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like from their perspective, because understanding their hell makes your heaven even sweeter. They scroll past your image and their stomach drops, not from disgust, but from the gravitational pull of wanting to understand what they're seeing. They hear your name in conversation, and the room gets smaller, their breath gets shorter. Because even secondhand mentions of you carry weight now. They see you in person and have to look away because direct eye contact feels like staring into something too bright, too intense, too real for their filtered existence. This isn't hate, it's not indifference, it's the traumatized fascination of people watching someone do what they never had the spine to attempt. The attraction manifests in obsession disguised as concern, in questions masked as accidental but is actually calculated and constant. They want to know who you're with now, where you go, what you're building, how you're doing it. Not because they care about your well-being, but because they're trying to find the formula, the secret roadmap that transformed you from someone they could manage into someone they can barely comprehend. Every piece of information about you becomes a puzzle piece they're desperately trying to fit into a picture that will make sense of their confusion and validate their discomfort. But the picture never completes because you're not a puzzle to solve, you're a frequency to experience. And they're tuned to the wrong channel. Here's what they'll never tell you, what they barely admit to themselves in their most honest moments at 4 in the morning when sleep won't come and your face keeps appearing behind their closed eyes. They miss you, but not the real you. They miss the version of you that made them feel powerful by comparison. The version that needed their validation. The version that shrunk itself so they could feel tall. They're attracted to the new you, yes, but they're also grieving the death of the old dynamic where they held cards they thought mattered. This grief masquerading as trauma. This longing dressed up as curiosity. It's all just the death rattle of their ego realizing it lost something irreplaceable when you stopped playing their game. What did you do to create this perfect storm of traumatized attraction? This psychological earthquake that keeps aftershocking through their reality. You committed the ultimate crime in their eyes. You grew beyond their understanding without asking permission, without providing a roadmap, without making it comfortable or comprehensible or easy to witness. You took your pain and turned it into something they can't categorize as victim or villain. You took your darkness and made it magnetic instead of shameful. You took everything that should have broken you and used it as building blocks for something they'll spend years trying to understand and never quite reach. The real answer to their question is simple and devastating. You stopped being who they needed you to be and started being who you actually are. That's it. That's the whole terrible, beautiful truth. You removed the performance, the filter, the translation service that made your intensity digestible. You stopped code swallowing to match their limited vocabulary. Stopped dimming your light so their eyes wouldn't hurt. Stopped making yourself smaller so they could maintain their illusion of size. The moment you relaxed into your actual presence, your real energy, your authentic power, you became simultaneously traumatizing and attractive. Because real power always creates that dual response in people who've only known pretend power. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of what you created here, because this isn't accidental chaos. This is architecture. You built something in your absence from their lives, in the silence where they expected to hear you breaking, in the darkness where they assumed you'd be lost. You built a version of yourself that doesn't need them to exist, doesn't reference them to have value, doesn't use their validation as a measuring stick for worth. This independence is what traumatizes them most, because it means every moment you spent with them before was a choice you made, not a need you had. And choices can be unmade, while needs create dependency they could have exploited. The attraction grows in direct proportion to your indifference, which is perhaps the most twisted part of this whole dynamic. The less you care about their opinion, the more valuable their opinion feels to them, the more they want to matter to you. The more you exist without them, the more they want to be part of your existence. The further you move beyond their reach, the more they stretch trying to touch something they'll never grasp. This isn't love. It's not even healthy attraction. It's the magnetic pull of ego trying to reclaim territory it thought it owned, trying to matter to someone who's proven that mattering to them was never actually necessary for your survival or success or happiness. They're stuck now in this purgatory of their own creation, unable to move forward because you're blocking their path with your presence, unable to go back because the version of you they thought they knew is dead and buried. Every interaction with you now, or even every thought of you, becomes a reminder of their own stagnation, their own fear, their own inability to transform the way you did. You're not trying to teach them lessons, but your existence has become a master class they're failing, a test they can't pass, a mirror they can't bear to look into, but can't turn away from either. What makes this even more devastating is that you're not performing any of this for their benefit or their torture. You're just living, just existing in your authentic power, just moving through the world without the weight of their expectations or the burden of their understanding. Your indifference isn't calculated cruelty, it's genuine disinterest in performing for people who never appreciated the show anyway. This authenticity is what makes it hurt more, because they can't even claim you're doing this to them. They can only acknowledge that they're experiencing side effects from standing in proximity to someone who evolved beyond their frequency. The trauma and attraction aren't separate experiences for them. They're tangled together like barbed wire and silk, cutting and seducing in the same breath. They're traumatized by the loss of control, attracted to the power they never had but thought they could touch through proximity to you. They're traumatized by the mirror you hold up to their own mediocrity, attracted to the possibility that transformation might actually be achievable if they could just understand your formula. They're traumatized by your indifference, attracted to the challenge of mattering to someone who's proven They don't need anyone's approval to exist fully and powerfully in the world. So what did you do? They keep asking. What specific action created this earthquake in their psychology? The answer is everything and nothing. 1,000 small decisions to choose yourself over their comfort, to build in silence instead of explaining your blueprints, to walk away from situations that required you to shrink, to say no without apology or justification, to exist at full volume after years of whisper. You didn't do one thing, you became something. And that becoming is what they're traumatized by and attracted to in equal devastating measure. Who knows? Who knows? But so I don't know. That said, you bitter, you bitter, you bitter, you bitter. You did a really... Here's the part they'll never understand. The core truth that would unravel their entire framework if they could actually grasp it. You didn't leave them to hurt them. You left them to save yourself. You didn't transform to prove a point. You transformed to survive. You didn't become this magnetic force to attract attention. You became it because pretending to be smaller was killing you slowly. And you chose life over their comfort. Everything they're experiencing as trauma and attraction isn't about them at all. It's the aftershock of you choosing yourself, and their inability to understand that choice is exactly why you had to make it. The attraction will fade for some of them, the ones who eventually find someone else to project their fantasies onto. Someone else who might fulfill the role you vacated. But the trauma, that's permanent. Because you fundamentally altered their understanding of what's possible, what people are capable of, what transformation looks like when someone chooses it without permission. They'll carry this for years, maybe forever. The memory of someone who broke their framework, shattered their assumptions, and walked away unbothered by the debris. You're not just a person they knew anymore. You're a marker in their personal timeline, a before and after they can't erase. Let them struggle with it. Let them waste hours trying to decode what happened. Let them oscillate between trauma and attraction, like a pendulum that never finds rest. The world doesn't hate you for being wrong. No, no, no. It hates you for being right too soon, for knowing too much, for daring to whisper truths that make their fragile little reality tremble. They don't want you to see the cracks in their foundation, because then they'll have to see them too. You think they admire visionaries? Think again. History is a cemetery of minds that saw too far, too deep, too real. They burn the witches. They crucify the rebels. They laugh at the ones who challenge the script. And when laughter doesn't work, they sharpen their knife. You feel it, don't you? That weight, that suffocating pressure of a world trying to shove you back into the mold. You speak and they flinch. You move and they tighten their grip. Because if you break free, if you become what you are destined to be, you will remind them of everything they are not. And that is the one horror they cannot face. They will call you insane. They will call you delusional. They will call you dangerous. But tell me, What is more dangerous? A man who dares to see beyond the veil, or the ones who claw and scream to keep it shut? They want you silent. They want you obedient. They want you blind. But you were never meant to live in the dark. You are the storm. You are the fire. You are the nightmare they tried to suppress. And now, my friend, you are awake. And once you see, you can never unsee. They want you predictable, obedient, a puppet on their strings. They built a cage for you before you even knew how to crawl. Not with bars. No, something worse. Expectations, rules. A script written long before you took your first breath. You were never meant to choose your own path, only to follow the one they paved for you. Sit down, stay quiet, don't question, don't dream too big, stay in your lane, and maybe, just maybe, they'll let you exist in their world. But the moment you dare to step beyond their invisible leash, the alarms go off. You are no longer one of them. You are a threat to their comfort, a threat to their fragile sense of control, a threat to the lie they've built their whole existence around. Because if you can break free, what does that say about them? What does that say about the life they've wasted in chains? So they tighten their grip. They smile through their teeth and tell you they're worried about you, that you're being reckless, that you'll ruin yourself if you keep chasing things that aren't realistic. But tell me, what's more unrealistic? Wanting to carve your own destiny, or living a life that isn't yours just to keep them comfortable? They want you small, manageable, tamed, a puppet with strings so tight around your throat you forget what breathing feels like. But something inside you is waking up, isn't it? Something sharp, something hungry, a voice whispering, "This isn't my cage." You weren't born to be their puppet. You weren't born to live and die by their rules. The world they built for you is nothing but a house of glass, and every step you take shatters their illusion a little more. And that is why they fear you. Because once a puppet realizes it has no strings, what's left to control? They will disguise their fear as love, their doubt as advice. But watch the trembling in their voices. They will come to you with smiles, soft words, gentle hands resting on your shoulder like a noose made of silk. "I'm just looking out for you," they'll say. "I don't want you to get hurt." But listen closely. Do you hear it? The hesitation, the nervous laughter, the slight shake in their breath? That's not love. That's fear. Not fear for you. Fear of you. Fear of what you might become if you don't listen. Fear of what happens when you step outside the lines they've drawn for you. Because if you succeed, if you prove them wrong, then they have to face the ugly truth that they were the ones too scared to try. They'll call it wisdom. They'll call it being realistic. But the truth is they are terrified of your vision because it reminds them of their own failures. Your ambition is a mirror, and when they look into it, all they see is a reflection of everything they were too weak to chase. So they will try to plant doubt in your mind like a slow-acting poison. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe you should think it through more. Maybe you're not ready. But what they really mean is, please, don't prove me wrong. They don't want to see you fall, but more than that, they don't want to see you fly, because the moment you do, The moment you escape, you become proof that the cage was never real, that the limits they believed in were only in their heads, and nothing terrifies them more than realizing they spent their whole lives shackled to a lie. So listen carefully, not to their words, but to the fear hiding behind them, and then smile, because when people start fearing your dreams, you know you're on the right path. First they mock you, then they fight you, then they beg to understand you. They will laugh, oh how they will laugh. With wide grins and empty minds, they will huddle together, shaking their heads at your delusions. They will joke about your ambition like it's some kind of disease, a sickness that makes you see things they can't. They think their laughter is harmless, but behind it, fear. Because deep down they know mockery is just a shield for the weak. It's easier to laugh than to admit they lack the courage to dream like you do. Easier to point and sneer than to look in the mirror and face their own mediocrity. They laugh because if they don't, they might have to ask themselves a terrifying question. Why am I not brave enough to do the same? You'll see it in their eyes, that flicker of doubt, that moment where just for a second they wonder if you might actually be right. And that scares them more than anything, because if you are right, then they have wasted years, maybe decades, believing in limits that were never real. And nothing is more painful than realizing you have lived a small life by choice. So they mock you, they turn you into a joke, a story to tell when they sit around their little tables, sipping from the same glass of comfort they've been drinking their whole lives. They think their words will break you, that the weight of their laughter will make you crumble, but they don't realize they are only making you stronger. Because what they don't see, what they refuse to see, is that every great mind was once ridiculed. Every legend was first called a fool. Every empire was once just an idea in the mind of a madman. First they mock you, then they fight you, and when it's too late, when your name is written in the history they were too afraid to create, then they beg to understand you. And that's the part that makes it all worth it. The road to greatness is littered with the bones of those who turn back. This is where most men fall, not because they weren't strong enough, not because they weren't smart enough, but because they couldn't handle the silence, the unbearable weight of walking alone. They needed the validation, the approval, the comforting presence of a crowd nodding in agreement. But you are walking a road where no one claps, no one cheers, no one tells you that you're on the right path. It's just you and the fire in your chest that refuses to die. There will be nights where doubt sits beside you like an old friend, whispering in your ear, maybe they were right. Maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe you should go back. And in those moments you will understand why so many gave up, why so many turned around before they reached the mountaintop. Because the path is not paved with comfort, it is paved with suffering, with nights of questioning everything, with mornings where the weight of it all makes it hard to breathe. And the worst part, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to reach out a hand and pull you through the darkness. You have to drag yourself. You have to bleed for it, sacrifice for it, walk through fire alone while the rest of the world sits safely in the distance, watching, waiting, hoping to see you fall. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. People don't admire the man who is still climbing. No. They admire the man who has already made it, the one standing at the peak looking down, Until then, you are just another fool chasing a dream too big for their small minds to comprehend. And the price you pay for that? Isolation. You will lose people, friends, family, people you thought would be there forever. They won't understand why you keep going, why you refuse to settle. And in their confusion, they will turn away, some with pity, some with anger, some with words of concern, hoping to drag you back to the safety of the herd. But you are not one of them anymore. You never were. And that is what separates you. The path is lonely, but the visionaries, the legends, the ones who changed the world, they all walked it, alone. They all knew what it meant to sit in silence, to keep moving forward when no one believed in them. And you are no different. So embrace the loneliness. Make friends with the silence, because one day, when you reach the top, the same people who left you behind will come crawling back, pretending they always believed in you. And by then, it won't even matter. When they can't control you, they'll try to destroy you. They smiled at first, pretended to support you, gave you hollow words of encouragement while secretly hoping you'd fail. But then, something changed. You didn't stop. You didn't fold. You kept moving, kept growing, kept proving them wrong, and that, when the smiles faded, that's when the knives came out. Because your success is an insult to their existence. It reminds them of everything they could have been but never were. Every dream they buried, every risk they were too afraid to take, and instead of looking in the mirror and fixing themselves, they choose the easier path, trying to break you. They'll whisper behind your back, poisoning your name like venom in the ears of others. They'll twist your words, distort your image, make you the villain in their pathetic little stories. They will sabotage you, not because you wronged them, but because you had the audacity to leave them behind. And when words don't work, they will try to break you in other ways. They will mock your discipline, call you obsessed, laugh at your sacrifices. You've changed, they'll say, like it's an accusation. And they're right. You have changed. You are no longer one of them. And that terrifies them more than anything. Because deep down, they know the truth. If you make it, they have no excuse. If you succeed, they can't blame the world for their failures anymore. They will have to face the reality that the only thing standing between them and greatness was themselves. And most people would rather destroy you than face that truth. So they will fight you, they will lash out, they will do everything in their power to pull you back into the pit of mediocrity where they feel safe. But do you know what the real tragedy is? Even if they succeeded, even if you let them drag you back, it wouldn't make them happy. Because it was never about you. It was about them. Their rage is not about your success. It's about their failure. Let them talk. Let them hate. Let them scream in frustration as you rise higher and higher, out of their reach. Because one day, they'll be forced to watch as you become everything they were too weak to chase. And that will be their punishment. A man who refuses to break cannot be owned. They can take your money, your reputation, your so-called friends. They can strip you of everything, but if your mind is untouchable, you are still the most dangerous man in the room, because power isn't in what you own, it's in what you refuse to surrender, and the one thing you must never, ever surrender is your mind. They will try, oh, they will try. They will plant seeds of doubt, hoping you'll water them with fear. They will throw obstacles in your path, praying you'll collapse under the weight. They will turn people against you, isolate you, starve you of support, because they know the only way to kill a beast is to make it believe it's already dead. But here's the difference between you and them. You don't break. You don't fold. You don't crawl back begging for acceptance. When they try to shatter you, you become sharper. When they try to bury you, you rise stronger. They cannot control a man who answers to no one. A man who has mastered his own mind is a nightmare they can never escape. And that terrifies them. Because a man like that, he doesn't need permission. He doesn't wait for approval. He moves how he wants, when he wants, and no one, not their opinions, not their rules, not their fears, can stop him. That is real power. Not money, not fame, not empty applause from the weak, but an unshakable, unbreakable mind that bends for no one. Because once you reach that level, you realize something. The world doesn't destroy strong men. It only destroys the ones who let it. And you weren't given this vision just to watch it die. If it terrifies them, that means it has power. And if it has power, that means it was never meant to be caged. So let them try, let them scheme, let them throw their best shot. It won't matter, because no matter what they take, you will still rise. And when you do, the only thing left for them to fear is the moment they realize they never had control in the first place. They, the same voices that doubted you, will whisper your name in admiration. At first they laugh, dismiss you like a child chasing a foolish dream. They tell you it's impossible, that you're wasting your time. They act like they know better, like they've seen the future and it doesn't have your name in it. But here's the thing, they don't see the future. They only see their own limitations, and they are projecting them onto you. Then, as time passes, something shifts. The laughter dies down, the insults become whispers. The ones who once mocked you now watch from a distance, eyes filled with something they won't admit. Doubt. Not doubting you, doubt in themselves. Because every step forward you take is proof that they were wrong. And nothing shatters the ego more than realizing the person they underestimated is about to leave them behind. That silence, that's the sound of fear turning into curiosity. They won't admit it, not yet. But they're watching, studying, wondering how the hell you kept going despite all the roadblocks, all the betrayals, all the nights you should have quit but didn't. And deep down, a terrifying thought creeps into their minds. What if I had believed in them? What if I had believed in myself? And then the inevitable happens. They start asking questions. The same ones who told you to be realistic suddenly want your advice. The same ones who said you were crazy now call you a genius. They act like they always knew you would make it, like they were cheering for you from the start. But you remember. You remember the laughter, the doubt, the silence when you needed support the most. And in that moment, you realize you were never the problem. They were. Their fear, their doubts, their insecurities. You were always capable, always destined for more. The only thing that changed was that now they can't ignore you anymore. So let them watch, let them wonder, let them hesitate while you build an empire out of the ashes of their disbelief. Because soon enough, they will do what all cowards eventually do when faced with undeniable power. They will beg to follow. And when that day comes, The only question left is, will you let them? History is written by the ones who refuse to be erased. Watch them closely. The same ones who doubted you, who laughed, who whispered behind your back. One day, they will act like they were there all along. They will erase the past, scrub away their betrayal, and paint themselves as believers from the start. They will twist the story, bending it in their favor, trying to make themselves look wise, supportive, loyal. But you will remember the nights they left you alone, the words they threw like knives, the doors they slammed in your face. You will remember the smirks, the discouragement, the way they treated your vision like a joke. They never believed in you. They only believe in what you have built now, and that is their real crime. Not that they doubted you, but that they will pretend they never did. And it will happen so smoothly. One by one, they will slip into your life, offering praise laced with hidden guilt. I always knew you had it in you. I was rooting for you the whole time. Lies dressed as admiration. Cowards rewriting their own history, because facing the truth that they lacked the courage to stand beside you would break them. They want to be seen as part of your success, but you know better. They weren't part of the climb. They were the weight you had to shake off to reach the top. They weren't the builders, they were the wrecking crew. They didn't guide you, they tried to bury you. And now, as you stand where they swore you would never reach, they rewrite their role in your story. But they forget you are the author. Let them rewrite history all they want. It won't change the truth. It won't erase what they did, and most of all, it won't matter. Because while they waste time trying to change the past, you will be too busy creating the future. A future where their names are nothing but forgotten footnotes in the legend you wrote with your own blood, sweat, and unbreakable will. A king does not seek approval from the sheep. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them call you mad, arrogant, dangerous. That's the price of standing above the crowd. Your shadow will always be larger than their existence. They don't fear you because you're wrong. They fear you because you might be right. Because you dared to step outside their invisible cage and rewrite the rules they've been too afraid to challenge. They will call you reckless, unstable, insane, but look through history. The greatest minds, the legends, the game changers, they were all labeled mad before they were called geniuses. Van Gogh, Tesla, Jobs. Every revolutionary idea was ridiculed before it was worshipped, and every visionary was feared before they were followed. Society doesn't respect those who blend in, it bows to those who force it to evolve. So let them fear you, let them mock what they don't understand, because fear is power. And those who once laughed, they will be the same ones wearing your name on their lips like a prayer when they finally understand what you saw all along. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. Kings do not ask peasants if they are worthy of the throne, and monsters do not explain themselves to the frightened. You are not here to be liked. You are here to leave a mark so deep that history itself cannot erase you. So stand tall. Let them choke on their doubts. Let them drown in their mediocrity. And when the dust settles, when the same mouths that cursed you now sing your praises, do not seek revenge. Just smile, a slow, knowing smile, because in the end, you were always going to have the last laugh.